We are looking at a historical dataset comparing 25,000 individuals who experienced professional failure against several hundred who amassed fortunes beyond the million-dollar mark. This data was compiled by Napoleon Hill over decades of historical and economic research. To extract the actual value from this research, we have to strip away the motivational rhetoric that usually surrounds early 20th century success literature. The dividing line in this massive sample size was not starting capital, baseline intelligence, or formal education. The split between systemic failure and massive economic achievement comes down to a single operational variable: the mechanical structure of how a person makes and manages choices. Hill isolates this variable in Chapter 8 of his text, focusing entirely on the dynamic between decision and procrastination. He explicitly frames these two concepts not as separate bad habits, but as structurally inseparable twin brothers. Mechanically, indecision is the failure of an operating system to lock onto a fixed coordinate. Procrastination is simply the inevitable output of that failure. The system halts execution entirely because it has no durable target to execute against. This means procrastination is not a moral failing or a lack of discipline. It is a literal bottleneck in a system's logic flow, caused directly by faulty decision mechanics. To apply Hill's findings practically, we must translate his observations into a formal two-dimensional operational matrix. This horizontal axis represents decision velocity, measuring how quickly an individual moves from an initial idea to a firm choice, spanning from slow to immediate. This vertical axis measures commitment volatility, how easily a choice is abandoned once made. It ranges from highly volatile at the bottom to highly durable at the top. Measuring only speed or only durability in isolation tells us very little. The intersection of these two metrics dictates an individual's trajectory. Every professional strategy, business pivot, or life choice falls somewhere on this operational grid. Let's isolate the data from the 25,000 individuals who failed to reach their economic goals. Their first shared mechanical flaw is low velocity. They reach decisions very slowly, if they reach them at all, pushing them to the far left of the grid. Their second shared flaw is high volatility. Once a decision is finally made, they change their minds quickly and often. This forces the overwhelming majority of the failure dataset into the bottom left quadrant, the procrastination loop. When a goal operates inside this quadrant, targets constantly shift. Momentum bleeds out through erratic course corrections, preventing any compounding progress. Hill's text identifies specific external inputs that fuel this loop: a reliance on alibis, overcaution, and the fear of criticism. Firmly, when a system runs on low velocity and high volatility, it is structurally incapable of maintaining the momentum required to reach a complex objective. Now we examine the contrasting dataset of the highly successful individuals. Their primary operational trait is the habit of reaching decisions promptly, registering high on the velocity axis. Their secondary and more critical trait is low volatility. They change those decisions incredibly slowly, if they change them at all. This behavior maps them securely into the top right quadrant, the transmutation vector. By immediately locking their coordinates, they create a highly stable environment for execution. The mechanical advantage is absolute. A fixed target forces all available resources, time, and capital to compound in a single direction. Massive success is an emergent property of high decision velocity combined with high commitment durability. These mechanics scale. The same operational forces governing an individual workflow dictate massive historical and economic shifts. Hill's primary example of a highly durable decision is the drafting of the Declaration of Independence. The founders required absolute decision durability. By signing the document, they burned their ships and made retreat impossible. Wavering, slowing the consensus, or changing their minds en masse would have resulted in executions for treason, not the birth of a nation. We observe the same mechanics in Hill's second macro-level example, the formation of the United States Steel Corporation. Organizing an industrial empire of that scale required a single, uncompromising, rapid decision from leadership to align massive capital. Brilliant industrial plans are completely inert without the raw power of a fixed decision backing them into reality. The macro-level shifts that forge industries are driven by the exact same micro-level decision mechanics found in the transmutation vector. If we strip away the comparative matrix, this stark flowchart shows the linear pipeline of successful execution. Hill's thesis is that thought, when backed by intense desire, has a natural tendency to transmute into its physical or financial equivalent. This transmutation process requires an unbroken, stable circuit to complete the transfer. Changing a decision quickly or wavering breaks the circuit. The energy bleeds out of the system before it can yield a tangible result. The ultimate operational function of a firm decision is to provide the structural stability necessary to resist the friction of external resistance. Which brings us directly to your current operational state. Audit your own recent projects. Look at the data objectively to determine your true decision velocity and volatility metrics. The operational rule extracted from the data is clear. Decide promptly, alter slowly. Do not let the twin brothers of indecision and procrastination quietly bottleneck your workflows under the guise of gathering more information. Mastering the mechanics of decision is the ultimate structural bottleneck. Clear it, and the path from abstract desire to concrete reality opens permanently.